Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about the downsides to moving here to Thailand. Now before we get started, I am not bashing Thailand. Any country you move to, there's going to be pros and cons, downsides, good things, bad things in every country. I just want you to be well aware of some of the downsides of moving here to Thailand if you're coming from a Western country. First on our list is home ownership. A lot of the people that I've talked to that have moved here to Thailand had aspirations of buying a home, only to find out that it's difficult to nearly impossible depending on your situation. So buying a home here as a foreigner is very difficult, if not impossible to do. You can buy a condo, and that really depends on the condo itself, meaning how it's structured, because if it isn't approved for foreign ownership, foreigners can only own 49% of the total occupancy of the entire condo. The legalities on this go on and on and on. Just know that if you think you're going to come over here and just buy yourself a little home, that may not be possible, but definitely speak with a real estate professional here in Thailand beforehand if that is going to be a deal breaker for you. Another one that's kind of a downer, or it could be fun, just depends how you look at it, and that is the currency fluctuations. So I'm going to assume you're not going to move all of your money from whatever country you're coming from to Thailand all in one big lump sum. I'm going to imagine that you'll bring it over in like maybe a monthly amount each month. So one thing you're going to have to get used to doing is looking at the currency fluctuation, the conversion ratios, because you're going to want to send your money over or transfer it into baht whenever it's more profitable for you. So you're going to need to keep an eye on a currency converter calculator on your phone to see what the rates are doing so you can take advantage of the best rate. So that's something that you're going to have to get used to. Could be a downside moving to Thailand. Can be fun, just depends on which way it's going. The next thing that could be a downside, and I thought about this the other day when I saw somebody who was in a wheelchair. Thailand is very unfriendly to wheelchairs. I'm sure this is going to depend where you're at in Thailand. I'm in Chiang Mai, and I can assure you that a lot of the temples and all the other touristy type things, they're not accessible, a lot of them, for wheelchairs. There's lots of steps going up, and there's not a whole lot of ramps. So Thailand as a whole, I'm going to say, is not very friendly if you do have some walking disabilities. Insect-borne diseases. Well, Thailand is known for having more cases of malaria and dengue than a lot of the Western countries. So just keep in mind here that when you get stung by a mosquito, it's a little bit scarier than when you're getting stung by one, let's say, in the United States. Yeah, we still got diseases and all that other good stuff, but they got the good ones here, the dengue, the malaria. Hopefully that won't be too much of a downside for you. Just use bug spray, long sleeves, long pants if needed. I gotta say though, lived here a little over 2.5 years, and mosquitoes aren't that big of an issue. I would have thought they would be. At certain times of the year, maybe it's a little bit worse than others, but I might get stung 2 or 3 times a week, and that's about it. Another thing that's going to make our list is noise pollution. And again, this is going to depend on where you live. But if you're in the city in Bangkok and you're not used to living in the city, it can be very loud. It's also loud here in Chiang Mai, depending on where you live. Now, we lived in a subdivision before the home we're living in now, and there was a temple right down the road, and there seems to be lots of things going on in the temple that are very loud and all night. You can see some of the videos on our channel about some of the noises where I went down to figure out what was going on, and they were having a street party. There's always a party going on somewhere, and you'll find out real quick when you move to Thailand. Thais like their music loud. Another downside might be loneliness as an expat. In other words, you moved here, you don't know anybody, and you start feeling depressed. We've talked about this before on the channel. You really need to get out and meet some people. You're gonna have to force yourself to do this. Once you meet a couple people, you know, more than likely you'll meet even more and more and more. If you're looking to stay away from the expats, then don't get anywhere near the expat type establishments. But if you are looking to meet other expats, meaning people who are not from Thailand, then by all means go to some of the places where they conglomerate. You could find these places if you join one of the expat groups on Facebook for Chiang Mai, Bangkok, Pattaya, wherever you plan on moving. Now, another thing that could be a downside is for you families and you've got kids that you want to go to school. So the school is, now I wish my parents would have sent me here. It's not as difficult as it is in a lot of Western countries. Again, this is going to depend from school to school. But I have friends of mine that work in a lot of the expensive schools, and they're telling me that the education isn't as high as what they're used to from Europe or from America. So just keep in mind that if you are planning on sending your kids to school over here, they may not be getting the best education possible. Now, another concern is going to be air quality, and that's for the most part all over Thailand, except for some of the islands and some of the places really near water. The rest of Thailand in the month of March and April is going to have an air pollution problem, and it can be really bad. So just know that that is kind of a downside of living in Thailand. That's a great time though to leave wherever you're living if it's in a bad spot and go visit the islands for a couple months, or if you're wanting to get out of Thailand for a little while, make it March or April. Another thing that might catch you off guard here is the work opportunities. So I've talked to a lot of people before they come over here, and they're like, yeah, I'm just gonna go over there and get a job. I'm in IT, or I'm gonna get a job over there. I'm in whatever finance, fill in the blank. Those jobs are for Thais, and there's not a whole lot of openings for foreigners. The Thais like to keep the employment for the Thais. Just warning you ahead of time. If you need to come over here and work, you need to work that out either on a vacation over here, do some interviews, get a job lined up, do it online, whatever you need to do. I would like to suggest finding a way to make a living online from the country you are from. And that way you're getting paid the same wage from the country you are from, and you get to spend it here in Thailand where the cost of living is a lot lower. And always on my list of things that may be on the downside for Thailand is dealing with the visa processes. Now, I got a lot of people that like to argue with me in the comments. Oh, it's not that difficult. Oh, you're just making things up. I'm going to guess that most of you are 50 or older, or you have a skill like you're an English teacher, so you're able to easily get a visa over here or something like that. For someone who doesn't have the skills for a job that Thailand really needs from a foreigner, and you are not 50 and older, so you don't qualify for the retirement visa, it's difficult to stay in this country long term. Just know that ahead of time. Now, the traffic and transportation, it can be good, it can be bad, again, depending where you live in Thailand. Just know, as I've said in many other videos before, traffic's crazy here. Yes, I love your comments. Traffic's worse in Turkey. The traffic's worse in Vietnam. Probably is. But all I'm telling you is I'm from South Carolina in the United States. And if I'm doing a comparison between where I come from and Thailand, they drive crazy. So it's a downside here. You're going to have to get used to it. Another downside would be the language barrier. It is something you can easily overcome with minimal effort. So if you just stay in some of the bigger cities that are used to a lot of tourists, you'll do fine in grocery stores and restaurants and things like that. A lot of Thais can know a little bit of English and help you out. Now, it wouldn't hurt you to learn some Thai, especially if you plan on living in Thailand. It makes a lot of sense. I am learning Thai, and I could tell you that it makes my life a lot easier being able to say some things probably really bad in Thai, but nonetheless, to be able to say some things in Thai, it really helps the whole Thailand experience. Now, one more thing on the list is going to be healthcare expenses. Now, that can be from a multitude of things. If you're retired and you've got insurance back in your home country and you can use it over here, that's not going to affect you whatsoever. If you're someone that's going to come over here and you have no insurance, you plan on getting insurance over here, you're going to have that cost. But let's say you come over here and you don't plan on getting any insurance, you're going to do those things out of pocket. Well, you get in one little minor accident and hurt yourself. those bills can add up fast. Yes, healthcare is a lot less expensive here in Thailand compared to where I'm from, the United States. However, it still costs something. So one of the bummers or the downside here would be staying here without insurance and getting hurt. Well, as you can see, the list is not very long for what I think are the downsides of living here in Thailand. I can tell you, I love Thailand. I love living here. I'm not trying to talk you out of living here. I just want you to know what you're going to get into if you come over here to Thailand. A lot of you want to hear the good, the bad, and everything in between. So hopefully this channel's giving that to you. Thank you for watching. And if you did like the video, please give it a thumbs up, and we'd love it if you would subscribe. If you feel so inclined, buy us a coffee. We'd really appreciate it. There's a link down in the description. And until next time, I want to thank you. Khap kun khap.